Hello, Radio World. This is Radio 568. I am DJ Don't Stop. My government's Matthew Bishop, if you must know it. But, people like to get real personal, make sure that they know you. So you can know me, Matthew Bishop. Here on Radio 568, this is my little segment I like to call Where Things Make Sense. It's usually when I just babble on about how things make sense, but usually when I try to make sense, it doesn't make sense to anyone else. Anyway, just to make sure that everything is moving real smoothly, I'm about to play little music. YouTube, how you doing? Big fans. Love it if you like. Just let me play a little bit of something. And I'll be right back, everybody. This is Radio 568 where things make sense.
Kicked off my shoes, tripped acid in the rain. Wore my jacket as a cape and my umbrella as a cane. The richest man rocks the snatchless necklace. Spineless bitches in backless dresses. Wore my feelings on my sleeveless. My weed seedless, my trees leafless. I miss my diagonal grilled cheeses. And back when Mike Jackson was still Jesus. Before I believed in not believing in. Yeah, I ain't hell. Who believed in me not breathing in? Cigarette stained smile all covered in sin. My big homie died young, just turned older than him. I seen it happen, I seen it happen, I see it always. He still be screaming, I see his demons in empty hallways. I tripped to make the fall shorter. Fall quarter was just a tall order. And I'm hungry, I'm just not that thirsty. As of late, all my verses seem not so versy. And all my words just be
All right, Radio
controversy.
World.
With the
This is
team
me,
above my
DJ
back
Don't
like
Stop, Matthew Bishop here in full effect. Just want to make sure that everything moves a little smoothly here. So as I said, this is my little segment called Where Things Make Sense. Usually when I just babble. And today I get to really babble because there is nobody here with me. It's just me talking. So it's a great show. Whenever it's me, I think it's a great show. Anyway, I would like to inform everybody about a few things that's happening around John Jay, because this is John Jay's radio. Well, let me not say John Jay's radio. This is the Communication and Theater Arts Department. One of the professors, Professor Winston, this is his baby. Try to nurture it as best as possible. Nurture versus nature. And we'll let the nurture take care of this part. So it's with he's gonna kill me for not knowing this, but I think it's 131 is the name of the course. It's society and media, something like that. But I didn't take the class, so all the digits and the fancy words I don't know. But anyway, let's get to the actual show where I talk about nonsense. And my nonsense that I'm talking about for just a little bit is religion. It's kind of a touchy subject, and but I'm a touchy guy. I don't want to do anything to disrespect anyone, so I'm gonna try my best to be as cordial as possible, but I will be as honest as possible as well. With of course, with all due respect. So the first thing I want to talk about is say a little story with between me and one of my fellow Boy Scouts. His name is Christian, and he was raised as a Christian, no pun intended. His mother and father, made sure he got the good word of Jesus Christ. I think all words are good, but Jesus Christ is a specific word depending on your religion that people like to, make sure that as well. Um, Personally, I did grow up with hold on one second. I'm gonna just play a little something real quick just to make sure that my headphones are speaking well. So what just happened was I got a call from Dr. Professor, who's, the main man, the man of the year. And he told me that I sound lonely, and I kind of am, but I got a lot of personality, so I guess that I won't be too lonely for too long. And he also corrected me on, well, not corrected me. He told me exactly what it was. He says DRA 131, and next semester it will be ENG 131. So anybody that's listening that's interested in social media, anything social, if you're sociology major, especially, I think that this will be more than beneficial to you. Make sure you sign up for that English, which will be now ENG 131, uh, which is now with the RA 131. Be the same thing, same professor, same groovy subject. But anyway, back to the subject I was speaking on, which was religion. One of my scouts, he was speaking to me, and all my other Boy Scouts as well, telling me, about Jesus and how he took the Bible 100% literally. Me being me, and I don't knock anybody for doing anything different. But me personally, I don't like to take everything literally. I feel like certain things should be taken figuratively, other things should be taken literally. Other things are just made to be told for you to understand the story. For example, one of the things that he was like animate about, which I understand why people might feel a certain type of way about it, but me being me, I defer from it. Was creationism. It was a creationism story. I'm more of a Darwinist. I believe in. I don't believe in. I won't say I don't believe in creationism, but I just don't believe in it to an extent in which he believed in it. He was telling me, the world was made in 7 days. Adam and Eve, first man and woman, Cain and Abel, etc., etc. Me personally, I told him, does that really make sense to you? Adam and Eve, just two people that had two sons, and then from two sons they had. I mean, they only had the Bible only mentions Adam and Eve and then Cain and Abel. But apparently, these two men found wives, which was kind of, you know, weird to me. I'm not knocking the Bible or anything that it stands for, but what I do believe in is that a lot of the Bible is to be taken figuratively, excuse me, and not literally. I feel like when it comes to certain things like this, it's more of like a story. I try to compare it to him like parables that Jesus has said. Jesus had many stories. Not all of them were actual stories. A lot of them were just stories so you could understand exactly a message. Like we call them fables or folklores. Not saying that the Bible is such, but that's how I like to look at it as, because I feel like there's many things that I have learned through our humanity that exceeds the little bit of knowledge that we had at the time which the Bible was written. I would say I believe in that the creation story to one degree. And that degree is that we're all related one way or another. So we should not be dicks to each other, more or less. Um, I'm sorry. I wish I got somebody here to talk garbaje with me, like Dr. Professor or Izzy 45, but nobody wanted to spend time with me in the studio, so it would just be me. But anyway, yeah. So I feel like when it comes to stuff like the creation story, we could all be friends, but let's not all be entitled to like one way of viewing things. I think that's the worst thing that we could ever do is just view things one way and not even give anything else a chance. That's actually the beginning of ignorance. Whenever you think that you know everything just because somebody told you this is what it is, so you just believe it. I always into research, and I don't like the fact that most religions that you come upon goes against the research term. Uh, I read many different biblical scriptures. I'm not going to say biblical scriptures, but religious texts. I read the Torah, of course, because as I said, I was more or less Christian most of my life. Raised in the church, and the Torah is more or less Genesis through Deuteronomy, if I'm not mistaken. Um, After I read the Torah, of course, the Holy Bible. Uh, After that, I actually this is on my own doing the Quran. And also I read in the Gita now, which is the Hindu religious scriptures. And I'll say this is the one thing that bothers me that I see within almost every religion is that they say, I'm not speaking verbatim when I say this, but they say this more or less in in relation to whatever they're saying is believe in this and have faith in this because I told you this. But those who have heard this and neglect this will be damned to eternal, will be damned to damnation, I guess. And it kind of like bothers me. It's like, nothing in life you should do that to. Nothing should be, oh, I heard it, so I must believe it, and not even have a way to prove whatever you learned. It's just like, oh, I told you this, so that goes how it goes. And if you don't believe in it after I already told you it, you're going to hell. Like, that's disgusting to me. I don't bangs with that, with those aspects that I see in most religious scriptures. Um, Also, what he was also touching on was when it came to him and taking everything literally, he wouldn't even understand my stories that I gave him as in a way of, understand that everything is not just literal, it's figurative or relatable. You know, everything is, related more or less. And I am a big fan of the creationism story just because it kind of gives that aspect of everything being interlocked, everything being relatable and, things like that, things of that nature. Um, Also another thing that we was touching on was, well, I touched on, I tried to touch on, but he wouldn't hold on to it, because usually, and this bothers me, this is why I'm speaking on it. I don't like when people are so blinded by what they're told that they can't even open their eyes to something bigger than something that they believe in. I'm personally, at least I like to think myself this way. I like to open my eyes to other aspects that people say certain things and try to see how they could think the way they think and how I could see myself thinking in that same way, so on and so forth. uh, I'm not saying that I'm always going to agree with somebody because if I don't agree with you, then I just don't agree with you. But we could always discuss something that I don't agree on, and I'm really big on that. Um, Not just because I'm talkative, as I've been told, but because I actually do like to comprehend how other people think, because it kind of gives me validation for the way I think. Uh, I always tell people this: no matter what, if we get into an argument, I'm going to listen to everything that you say. And I'm going to make sure I listen to everything that you say and try my best to understand the things that come out your mouth. Because when give you a rebuttal, it's going to be a real rebuttal based on the things that you have said. And I don't want you to ever misinterpret my rebuttal for me just ignoring everything that you said and just having my own ideas in my head and then acting on my ideas. I really do take a serious and passion and listen to what everybody has to say just so I could prove them wrong, honestly. But I will listen to it and try to understand it. And the more I understand it, the better I could prove you wrong. So I make sure I get my proven wrong, I get my proven wrong game on point. But anyway, back to what I was stating. I was trying to explain to him, how maybe certain things of the Bible are made to be taken literally for the time it was written because our intelligence, the things that we know now, surpasses beyond what we knew back in biblical times. I call them biblical times. I don't know if everybody else has a different name for them, but biblical times when they was writing the Bible. When they were writing the Bible, we thought the world was flat. You know, when the Bible was written, we thought Earth was the center of the universe, not only the center of our solar system, but the center of the universe, which is kind of arrogant. But it made sense for the time. I feel like we tried, and also the thing that I'd like to touch on with this is that we evolve as people. We evolve ideologies, we evolve thought processes, we evolve, period. You know, and if you could see that along with the certain things that we believe and the certain things that we don't pay attention to. Excuse me, like somebody was just talking out the room and it just kind of threw me off a little. God, got catch on back to where I was at. But anyway, yeah, it's like we evolve. So, and that's just mentally. I'm not trying to say, if you don't believe that we came from primordial creatures, blah, 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 it's cool. You don't have to. But we evolve mentally. And our mind state at the time we're at now has evolved tremendously from the mind state that we had back in biblical times. The world was flat. Now we've proven that the world is round, spherical. Proven that not only is the earth not the center of our solar system, that we're not even close to being the center of the universe. Does the universe has a center? That's a great question right there. I don't even know if that's a thing. But in all actuality, that I'm trying to say is is that I feel like it was made to be taken literal at the time it was written, but now we're not supposed to take that literal. And the Bible itself has evolved, but it hasn't evolved as rapidly as human intellect. Um, we have many translations, and some translations were made specifically to change one or two aspects of the Bible. So, based on your denomination, you're not really getting the Bible how it was written, but how they felt that you should take it. You know, Catholicism was like one of the main things, and then I think it was King James that had the first. Not only it wasn't even just a translation; it was an adaptation to what he believed the Bible should be. So unless you're like with Catholicism, and even if you're with Catholicism, those English translations are different. I mean, you have to read the Bible for what whoever wrote it in that language and have to understand whatever they said at that time. Uh, it's like it's so many different things. Like we're slowly evolving the Bible, but we're not evolving ideologies in the Bible. We're evolving it based on the time that we're living, but we're not really doing that. We're like half-assing it. I really hope that we could probably go to making the Bible as evolved as we have our technology, but it doesn't really have it hasn't have done that. Dr. Professor actually has texted me, told me that the Torah has 5 books and other stuff, great stories. Well, I guess so. Listening is a skill most do not have. So you get your so you get your proven wrong, right? I didn't get that last text. Didn't completely understand it, but I understand what you're trying to get at, I believe. Maybe, kind of. But anyway, yeah. Um, yeah, I would like to people to understand that also. What this is my personal belief, you don't have to believe it. I do believe that religion was made for politics. You know, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but I do have certain idea. I actually conspirize. I don't know what's a correct grammatical term for that, but I conspirize the people that make conspiracies off of what they're conspirizing off of. Like we have this thing right now in hip hop. It's been like really predominant in how people see hip hop for like the past 3 to 4 years, I say, where everybody thinks that Illuminati and how they perceive Illuminati to be. Illuminati to everybody that doesn't know what the Illuminati is, or the way how we characterize Illuminati right now, is basically like secret society devil worship within the media that we have today. So everybody was like, "Oh, Jay-Z believes in the devil. He prays to Baphomet. Uh, you know, all these other things." And the thing that I really like to conspirize, as I said, I don't know the grammatical term for that, is the actual Bible itself. I feel like when it comes to religion, those are all made for politics. The best way to control a man is to control his beliefs. If I control your faith, I control you. And I feel like that's something that has happened, and it's something that's really prevalent in the world today. We not only have our beliefs control us, but we have our beliefs control the way we see other people and we see other things. We don't even see things the way how they are because we're so busy being trapped in our beliefs sometimes. And I feel like sometimes, I'm not saying you have to separate it, but you have to give it its right place and put it in its right perspective. I feel like many people do not do that, and I wish that people would. If you like actually see things and not see things, but still see things, you will be able to see things. And that made no sense to anyone, I guess, besides me, but that made beautiful sense to myself. If we actually try to see things but not see our own beliefs, but then add our own beliefs in there and then see it again, we might be able to build off of that. And that's how I really practice my personal religion, I guess. It's not really a religion, it's kind of like just a belief. But what is religion besides belief? And how I see how things work. Um, but anyway, I'm gonna take a little quick break, play a little music. It's just a little beat I made once upon a time. And actually, no, I'm gonna do that for a little bit, and I'll be right back. This is Radio 568. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Radio568. Subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on YouTube, listen to us. I think we're dope. We have a whole lot of other programs and segments done by other students, not just me. So please continue to listen on. And this is DJ Don't Stop here on Radio 568. As I said, this is Radio 568. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. So, why not? Stay in tune with the John J family. We do big things. I think so, at least. And also follow us on Twitter at Radio 568. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. So Dr. Professor has been texting me every now and then, and I don't read them as much as I do because I'm trying to like pay attention to the radio program. But it's all good. He did tell me that he corrected what I was reading. I guess I was reading this wrong, but he has like old fingers when he types, so I can't read it correctly. He said, "You use listening to prove your point, so your argument's right." A good thing. And yeah, I usually believe I'm right. I always tell people I'm like 98.76% right. The other times are just mistakes. Um, yeah, so this is social construction, as he said. Talking about, I guess. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just spewing sounds out my mouth as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, as I said, Radio 568, make sure you follow, like, love us. We try to do as much as we could possibly do. Um, Also, let me just give a little shout outs to certain things that's going on around campus. Uh, I want to give a big shout out to CSIL. I don't know what the acronym stands for. I'm not a big fan of the new acronym. I'm a big fan of OSL. And I'm pretty sure if you ask anybody where's OSL, they'll just direct you to CSIL, which is what it's now called. OSL used to be called Office of Student Life. Now it's like Center for Student Involvement and Leadership. Um, I know it's, I don't know. It just doesn't tickle my fancy, and my fancy doesn't like it too much. But we have great clubs. Shelf and Listen, which is the club that I founded last year. It's an amazing club, I feel. We're an open mic club, so verbal expression, and of any kind, of every and any kind, we like to support. So rappers, singers, spoken word artists, comedians, please hit us up. We have this new thing that our president Catherine Berquin is doing, which is called Talent Tuesdays. So what you could do is follow us on Instagram, which is the at sign at SHUTUPANDLISTENJJAY. That is Shut Up and Listen JJ. And you can hit us up on Instagram with certain whatever your verbal expression, your talent is, and we could like post it on Tuesdays because that's what we want to do. We want this thing called Talent Tuesday. So every Tuesday, you give it up for all the talented people that have something to show. It's verbal expression. So let's express ourselves, which is a beautiful thing. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to the actual John Jay's Radio. They're not actually a club; they're a student entity. The difference, don't know, but there are a student entity that actually John Jay. Period. Like I don't know. Like I guess John Jay have like certain things, and that's John Jay Radio. John Jay Radio's having an event this upcoming Wednesday, which yours truly will be performing at 8 o'clock p.m. I believe. No, it ends at 8 p.m. It starts at 6. It's called Coffee Rush. It's actually an event which is collaborated with John Jay Radio and the InterVarsity Club. So that would be a great event. We have a lot of artists that are coming out, performing, speaking out. I know a few people that represent the Dean's List tour will be there. Poets, rappers, singers, kind of like my club. Sounds like things my club do. And I'll be performing. I believe my president will be performing as well, Catherine Berkwin. Make sure you hit her up as well. Email us for any events that you may have in mind that you may want to collaborate with, that you may look for talent for. Our email is same thing as our Instagram, shutupandlistenjay@gmail.com. Hope I don't have to spell Gmail. It's G and the letter and the words, that's the word mail. And the dot, which is the period, and com is com. So yeah, hit us up. Let us know anything that you have in mind. Any questions, please. We're more than willing to hear from students, faculty, anybody that has anything that they want done. We try our best to get things done, and if we can't get it done, we'll try our best to tell you, give you direction to who can get things done for you. Um, so my topic of discussion was more or less religion, and it's really, I guess, it really is a social construction, as Dr. Professor has said, because it's more than just religion sometimes, because the same way as I see certain people feel for religion, it's just certain way how people feel for their quote unquote rights, certain things that they feel is best for them, and they like to throw that in people's face. But I guess people forget, there's different strokes for different folks. What's best for me is not always best for you, and what's best for you is probably not going to be anywhere decent for me. So, let's all like more or less have a certain attitude when it comes towards that. Let's try to be as relatable and as socially acceptant as possible. Sorry for my lisp, comes and goes sometimes. But yeah, as I was saying, we have evolved as a people. I will hope that our intellect and understanding evolves as well, not just in religious, but social, socially. Uh, as religion grows, I mean, as our technology grows and our science grows, there are many things that we still have to question. I'm not saying that science is the answer to all questions, but actually, when the deeper we get into science, the deeper we get to God. I feel like every time we get one answer, we wind up with two questions, which is how and why. Like even if I ask anybody any question, you could always ask two questions, which is how and why, and what caused that to happen, which is kind of like why. So I think Einstein has said this, which was the same thing that I'm kind of said, which was the more questions we answer, the more questions we have for that answer. Everything comes down to breaking and building, and the more you break things, the closer I feel like you get to God, and the more you build things, the closer I feel like you get to God. You know, um, when it comes to like quantum physics, which is real small micromolecular physics, things just don't make sense. And it's like, well, how can we prove this? We can't prove it. So we just give it up to like, hey, it's probably some supernatural force that we have yet to understand. And that's the beauty of life. Nobody has answers, even though we would like to have answers. We don't have answers until we actually get the answers. And sometimes those answers just lead to more questions. And we should appreciate that and value that, and not to knock on anybody's beliefs or virtues, but let's try to keep in mind that we don't have answers, no matter how much we believe we do have answers. Only thing we have are beliefs and faith. And that's a beautiful thing to have, as long as you're not shitting on the next man for his belief and faiths. You know, I feel, I mean, this is like one of my golden rules is do what's best for you with as little to no harm to anyone else. So if you're gonna do something, if you're doing it for you, please make it be positive as well, and it's not harm anybody else as much as possible. If you believe in how you see the world, don't terrorize someone for not believing what you believe in. I believe I'll say this because I know somebody will probably ask me, "Oh, so what do you believe in?" I do believe in that we all came from one thing. What that one thing is, I don't feel like I have the answers for. I do believe in, I call it meditation, which is connecting with the universe. Uh, some people have different names for that, which is prayer. Also believe that more or less we all do believe in the same thing. We just have different ways of labeling it for the most part. Uh, I see a lot of people do have their own specific beliefs when it comes to whatever they believe in, but I do believe that we all appreciate the same thing for the most part. Uh, and I say that in all terms. Even I had talked to Satanists recently, and usually when people hear Satanists, they automatically think negative, negative, negative. And there are different, and I think when people think negative, 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 to no matter towards any religion, they always forget that there's extremists towards everything. There's the common how to say, there's a common Muslim, and then there's the extremists. But we more so focus on the extremists. We have common Christians and they're extremists. We have common Jews and we have the extremists. We have common Hindus and there's extremists. So don't always think that, oh, well, they're this, they're that. It doesn't always intermingle. One of the sanest persons that I talked to was actually a coworker of mine. He was telling me that, like, like he has nothing against God as a Satanist. He just feels that Satan is the liberator. He's actually the one that wants to give us truth. Do I believe in that? No, because I don't really believe in too much. Well, I do believe in certain religion aspects, but I don't believe in any one religion more than the other. I could see how he understands that. I could see, and when he was telling me about it and like explain it to me, it makes sense. But it's something that I wouldn't dive into myself. But I could see how it makes sense, Satan as a liberator, as the actual one who wants to awake you and bring you truth, and more or less as he's known as God's adversary to a Satanist, which isn't necessarily a bad nor a good thing. Satan is known as neutral to some people. He's not known as bad. He's not known as good. And then what the Satanists, I guess whatever his, I won't say cult, but I would say cult just for lack of better words. His Satanist cult that works with him, that they have their all like ceremonies and whatnot. They were saying like they would like use certain things in the Bible and say that God is also neutral as well. He doesn't hope for good or bad, but he just gives you free will. But to what extent of free will is he giving you? Because he gives you the option of free will without letting you have legit free will. And like I can understand, their concept. Do I agree with it? More no than yes, but I understand. And I think that, he doesn't do anything crazy. He doesn't have like no human sacrifices, which I thought, which was the whole Satanist and voodoo type thing, which is cool. Which is cool. He was a normal guy. He's a respectable person with his own ideology, and it works for him. Different strokes for different folks. He's not a bad person. He's a really cool guy. And I guess that when you hear certain things, you automatically jump to the defensive or the negative because it's something that's not what you believe in. But maybe if we give certain things a chance and try to understand how people see certain things, though we may not agree with it, there's a certain level of understanding that comes with it. If it's just something that's just ridiculous, then yeah, I could see, how you would like completely disassociate yourself from it. But let's still give things a chance that are ridiculous because you might learn something from ridiculous that could validate your own belief, which is cool to me. Also, I'm like going back and forth on different topics. I just remembered something talking, thinking about that, which is the Illuminati and the whole quote unquote devil worship. I just want to touch on this because I think a lot of people would understand this better if they understood how we evolved as a thinking culture and what we see as certain terms to be. During the original the Freemasonry, that all started during revolutionary periods. You know, we had the French Revolution, American Revolution, etc. Um, Many people fail to understand how terminology now is different from terminology then. The main idea of Freemasonry, uh, which the Illuminati offspringed off of in America, is and Illuminati, for those who don't know, means enlightened. Doesn't mean devil. It doesn't mean whatever nonsense y'all like to say. It means enlightened, enlightened individuals. It's illum, I believe, is Latin for light, and something else is like man. I think mand, like hand, like mandu, something like that is hand, and it's just the English to Latin translation makes it Illuminati, because hand means man and man have hand, stuff like that, all that good stuff. But anyway, during the Freemasonry period, during the revolutions and the Renaissance periods, there was one thing that was holding people back from expanding their intellect, and that was the idea of the king, well, anarchy being divine power. And when they considered themselves divine power, any king back in those days. So being divine power, anything ill spoken of anarchy, king, queen, prince, princess, is considered blasphemy. So the Masons, who were people of Illuminati, uh tried to tell everyone exactly their ideologies. It's like, how could a king be of divine power if he's a human like we are humans? What's more divine of the king either than social status? And that's where the whole Freemasonry, Renaissance, revolutionary periods all intermingle with their ideologies and the way how they feel for things, right? So now, that being called blasphemy, then that was a serious crime. Blasphemy, speaking ill of the king, period. That was horrible. That was punishable by death in some cases. So from that point, that's how we consider that blasphemy to be. But now, when you hear the term blasphemy, that's like me just saying there's no God. That's not me saying the king is not of divine power. You won't consider that blasphemy now. But back then, that would be considered blasphemy because the king is considered divine. But now, when I use the term blasphemy, it's usually associated with negative connotations such as devil worship, etc. So understand the term Illuminati. I don't know who does certain things now. I can't speak or vouch for anyone, but I could almost kind of vouch and understand the way how things came about. Whoever's in charge of stuff now, I don't know. That's something you can learn in ENG 131 when it comes to social media and social stuff, period. But I would say this: I don't believe that there is a higher negative force so much. Yes, I do believe in some conspiracies, but not necessarily the conspiracies that everyone expects me to believe in. I do feel like the Illuminati, people have mistaken it for something that it's not, and comparing it to certain different things. Like with the one eye on the pyramid. Oh, that's congruent with devil worship. That's the eye of Baphomet looking into the world. All that nonsense. Please stop. It's just disgusting, honestly. Um, and we have to understand, how times grow. At the time, blasphemy, that term was used differently from the way we use it now. Now we have kind of a more conservative approach to the term, I guess, where it feels like it's directed specifically towards feeling one way. And at that time, blasphemy had many different meanings behind it. You speak ill of the church, that's blasphemy. Speak ill of anything that's considered divine as blasphemy. But now, so we consider blasphemy to be more of a anti-God thing, and specifically anti-God. Back then, that was anti anything that was considered divine. So let's understand that before we try to put certain things into its perspective, in which we don't understand, so we can't put it in its legit perspective. So, yep, that's what I really wanted to say about that, which is cool, I think. My name is Matthew Bishop. I go by DJ Don't Stop. I play music. I like stuff like that. This is my little segment where things make sense. If I didn't make sense, let me know. If I did make sense, let me know. If you have any feelings towards anything I said, make sure you let us know at Radio568, which is RADIO numerals 568 on Twitter. Like and subscribe to the video. Leave some comments. Show some love. Show some hate if you want to. Just show something. Um, I hope that we could all grow as people, understand things better, and hopefully next time I'm here, I'll be here with other people because it is kind of lonely in here. Even though I like ranting and not having other people distract my rantation, which is a word I just made up. And best of luck to everybody that's doing something big. I said this before in our last show. I'm really huge on Will Ferrell's saying in the movie Semi Pro, which is ELE, which is everyone love everyone. Let's all love each other. Stop showing so much hate. Stop being so quick to hate and slow to love. Let's build each other as a human race. And hopefully we could get to somewhere great real soon. That's it for the show. I'm going to play some music. What's going to be played, I don't know. I'm going to just play it. But anyway, best of luck to everything that you're doing. Make sure you stay tuned to Radio 568. There's other programs that we have being done by other students here at John Jay. Make sure you sign up for that class, ENG 131. I'm pretty sure it'll be a blast. So that's it for the day. Hope y'all have a good one. Peace. Just a reminder, it's at Radio568JJ on Twitter. Excuse me. So it's RADIO 568 letters JJ. All right. Make sure y'all follow. Thank y'all.